Hey everybody, this is Chris with Overclockersclub. If you've never heard of DXRacer, well, you're in for a little treat here because they have some really cool gaming chairs available. And we've got one today right there. It's the Craft. All right, now this thing is a little bulky and I need some room to get it out of the box and get it all together, so I don't have enough room in the studio to do all that, so we're going to have to do it out here on the floor. Now, if you've not heard of DXRacer, then we'll take a quick look here at some of the chairs that they have to offer. So if we look at the gaming chairs, you can see they have several series of chairs. So this is the Prince series right here. There's a Legacy series, a lot of different colors and design styles there. There's a Gladiator series, King series, Tank series. Looks like several of those are currently out of stock. Special editions and pricing here, for example, this one is $399. These are in the $499 range, $429 for the King series, $399, $329 for the Legacy. And if we move over here to the Air series, here's a D7100. That's an interesting design. We've got multiple chairs here again in that series, and these are in the $499 to $519. Here's the Craft. Now this is what we have today. We're in the Craft series. You can see we have multiple versions of that. If we go all the way down here, this is the one that we have today. This is the D5000N, and it's a gaming chair, but it would actually do pretty well as an office chair also. In fact, it even says right up here in the description. DXRacer Craft Custom Gaming Chair Special Edition Office Chair Classic. So this would work out real well. Of course, you could use any of these in the Craft series as an office chair, although they're a little more flashy. So there's the rabbit with his little dino costume. Here's the American edition. There's a Hello Human cat chair. There's a spaceman chair. A koi fish. A thinker, and of course the classic, which is again what we've got today. Pricing, the thinker right now is $469, and I think these are all the same. These are $10 more for some of the different graphics. Well, that's $479. And if we look at some of the other chairs, they also have a Master. Whoops, let me close that. There we go. The Master series. I really like these. I like that red one there. That's a nice looking chair. $439 for that one. We've got modular parts, so it looks like we've got some accessories there and the contact information. Now if we go back to the Craft series, let me bring up the 5000N. Now I'll look at the specs here. I'll bring those up. And looking at the first slide here, these are the overall specifications, and all of this information is on the page here that I'm looking at for the chair. But these are your general specifications. The main thing is it says that the recommended weight is up to 200 pounds, the maximum is 250. The recommended height, it says, is 5 feet 7 inches. That's not real tall. I'm actually a little under that myself, so I'm below the limit. I don't know if a really tall person would have an issue with this chair or not. I don't think so, because this chair looks to be pretty standard in all regards that any other office chair or gaming chair would be. So that just seems a little on the low limit there for height. The next slide here, again, shows that overall height limit. It says maximum 6 foot, so that's a little more closer to the average, I would think, for or at least within the range of most gamers. And again, the weight less than or equal to 200 pounds, but the maximum is 250. And then the last slide here sort of shows you the dimensions. So if you've got a tight space that you need to squeeze the chair into, well, this will at least give you the general dimensions. All right, now we'll take a real quick run through the features. The first thing here, it talks about the cooling gel foam pillow. And this is a little unusual. You don't see this really with gaming chairs, at least I haven't. They've got the cooling gel built in. It is a memory foam on the head pillow. Usually the head pillow is just regular old foam with a cover on it. It's not all that exciting, but we've got something, a step up, I would say. Here's the integrated lumbar support, which is nice. You can adjust it with the knob on the side, which we'll see a little later here. And you'll see my reaction here to the covers, the magnetic covers. I was a little surprised to see, though. That's an interesting feature. And again, I have not seen it before. I don't know if other people offer it or not, but it's nice. Let's see, thickened multifunction tilt mechanism, class 4 gas lift, robust aluminum wheelbase. So you'll see when I get it out of the box in a little bit my reaction to that. And then we've got 60mm casters with PU coating. It's usually a polyurethane, I think, PU. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get it out of the box now. And I've actually recorded this little section after, which is why I'm telling you. You'll see my reaction to some of these things. But anyway, time to get it out of the box. All right, so I'll take things out of the box and set them off to the side. All right, so okay, so that's a big congratulations to you for all your all new DXRacer chair, and welcome to the DXRacer family. Flip this over to see the assembly guide. That's really nice. That is nice. I like that. You can actually see what's going on. It's all in one place. So here's a list of everything that should be in the box. And it looks like the assembly instructions are pretty straightforward. So I'll set that off to the side. And one thing to note, when you open the box, be very careful if you use a box knife. Set it so the blade has minimum depth, because as you're slicing through, it's real easy to go deeper than you think, and you don't want to damage your new chair. So try to avoid using anything that cuts very deep. All right, so it looks like the main, okay, there's the seat back. All right, I'll put this up. Let me build my microphone here. There's a little pillow, and I'll lay the foam here out for the rest of it. All right, so this appears to be cast aluminum. Put the old magnet to it here in a moment and we'll see, but that's awful lightweight. Yeah, that's a nice piece. And then we've got all of the hardware here. This is probably the casters. Cardboard's a little stiff. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Contents. We got an Allen key, some M8 screws, hydraulic piston, side covers, lever handle, 2 side covers, 2 lever handles, 5 casters, and 1 hydraulic sleeve. So that's nice, the way this is all packed in the foam there that is cut to match the components. So everything is well protected. So when it gets shipped, it's not banging around against everything else in the box. So that's really nice. Okay, so there's all the casters, there's the hydraulic sleeve. So it looks like everything is in there. And over here, okay, so this is the lift. Again, it seems to be packed pretty well. I call this the lift. Actually, the cylinder does all the lifting. Get the bubble wrap off there. All right, so very nice. Okay, we'll look at that a little more closely here in a moment. All right, so looking at the instructions now, what I like here is we've got the overall assembly, so you can see the exploded view. You've got an idea where all the components go. There's not much to it. You got the base, the chassis here, the bottom frame, the seat bottom, and the seat back, and then you've got some little plastic covers, and that's really about it. But the first thing we're going to do is get the base together, which is that base. I did put a magnet to it just a moment ago. It is aluminum. And so we'll get the 5 casters in there, we'll get the cylinder in the middle, and then the sleeve, and then we'll move on to step 2. So for these, you don't really need much in the way of tools, but I'm going to set this upside down on the foam so I don't scratch it up. But so we've got the cylinder and the sleeve, which sort of telescopes down like that, and the casters. So these usually sort of push in there kind of by hand. Sometimes you have to get them all sort of set in there, flip the unit over, and get some weight on it for them to really pop in. But it looks like there's a little plastic bushing and then sort of a compression ring there that sort of locks it into position. And these are plastic wheels, plastic frame, and not that it matters, but they do turn independent of each other. So we'll get the first one in there, and let's see. Okay, that looks like it just pops in there, so I didn't really have to do much. Sometimes you don't realize that final push until you flip it over, put some weight on it, and then you hear the casters all pop into their pockets there. All right, so far these are pretty easy to go in. Yep. Oh yeah, that doesn't take a lot of effort. All right, we can flip this over. Let's just see. Yeah, I think those are all in. All right, so the next thing is the hydraulic cylinder. Now, if you look at it, it's got sort of a larger end and a smaller end. This is the button that will ultimately get pushed when you pull the side handle there to raise and lower the chair. It pushes on this button, so you want the button to be facing up. So this goes down in to the base like that. And then here's your hydraulic sleeve. We'll just set that on there. Actually, before I get to the next step there, I should point out the little warnings here. I kind of have to laugh at it a little bit. It's you shouldn't have to say these things, but obviously you do. So sit in the chair normally. Don't sit on the edge of the chair. Certainly don't stand on the chair. No more than one person. Don't try to buddy up there. It looks like don't try to horse around and surprise somebody and pull it back. Don't push down on it when someone's reclined. And this is, I guess, when you're reclined, don't scoot all the way forward. Make sure you're fully seated back in the chair. And then here, be real careful getting your fingers in the mechanism on the side. So again, most of those things you really shouldn't have to state, should be common sense, but hey, they're there for a reason. We go ahead and get the fasteners out. And I can see the way this little side bracket is designed. There's a stop right there. So when you slide this down on to the base there, it'll only go so far. So it'll hit that stop. And then we'll go ahead and get this set on there. All right, so let me go ahead and okay, there we go. All right. So that's actually nice. Now this side doesn't have a stop. I guess you only need one on one side. So we can go ahead and get the screws started. There we go. So there are 4 total. You may have to, there we go, yeah, you have to sort of shift it around a little bit. And this is where the little T-handle that they supply comes in handy. All right, so we can snug these up. And I wouldn't tighten them all down until we get all of them snugged first. Make sure that nothing is binding. All right, so that looks good. We'll go ahead and get these tightened. Okay, so it's got two sizes there, so we only need to use one side. All right. Okay, so now that was step 2. Let's bring the instructions around here and see what step 3 is. Okay, so step 2, I don't have little side covers on, but I'll do that. I'll do that a little later. So step 3, it looks like now we put the base or the chassis on there, and it looks like there's actually 4 screws. Okay, so 4 screws that hold that on. So let me flip everything over. And the last one, there we go. So the other thing you need to do is make sure that when you install the chassis here that you get it the right way. Now sometimes they have a little arrow that sort of points to the front or which way it goes, but it does show on the instructions, so we'll refer to those real quick just to make sure that we don't get it on there backwards. Another thing to point out, you can see your arms here. These are slotted, so you can loosen these and then slide your arm in and out a little bit to find that sweet spot where you are most comfortable, and then you just tighten these all down again. All right, so let's see if this has any kind of arrow. I don't see one, but that's okay, because now I know which way that goes on there, but when you're putting it together, it's real easy to put it together backwards. So if we look at the chair, you can see the hinged part goes toward the front of the chair. So that's how we need to put it on there. So here's the hinged part right here. This goes toward the front of the chair. This is the front. So now we know that we're getting it on there the right way. That's the friendly ambulance in the background. I live close to a fire station, so it's like living next to railroad tracks. After a while, you don't even know there's a train going by. So we'll get these all started. And then we can get everything tightened down. So, like I said, this is all stuff you can do with one person, but it's nice to have some help. And then this is where the hydraulic cylinder goes in there, and you can see there's a little, when I rotate this shaft, I don't have the handle on it just yet, but when you rotate it, there's a little lever in there that pushes down, and it pushes on that button on top of the cylinder, and that's what actuates the cylinder so that you can raise and lower the chair. And then this guy here, when you rotate it, there's a spring in there, and you're basically compressing or relaxing the spring, and that's what controls the force it takes to recline in the chair or basically rock. So you definitely want to get these tight. All right. Okay, next step. Let's see. So that was step 3. Okay, so I have to put the handles on. So we got 4 of the M8 fasteners all in there, so that's good. So now step 4 is to basically set the chair assembly down onto the base, and then we can attach the pillow, and that's pretty much it. All right, actually before I flip it over, I will go ahead and put the paddles on. So these are the little paddle levers, or whatever you want to call them, actuator levers. So they have a little notch in there that lines up with these areas that are dimpled on the shaft, and it looks like these are both the same, so it doesn't matter which one you use on which side. And you want the paddles facing, again, the front of the chair. So you find that little, make sure, okay, so yeah, you find that sweet spot, you rotate it, and then these should, yeah, push on there. Same on this side. Okay, and then we sort of pull that on there, all right. Okay. All right, now we're ready to get it on the base. All right, so this is pretty heavy. Once you get all this assembly together, you really should probably have 2 people, mainly because when this is sitting on the floor, it may move around as you're trying to set the chair on it. So I think what I'm going to do is just sort of position the chair in the box there, and then we'll go ahead and just push this in. And again, you can see this is the top that has the button, or the side that has the button there, and that goes into that hole right there. And there's nothing that really holds it in there other than friction when you put your weight on it. So that should be pretty good. Now I can go ahead and rotate the chair up very carefully, and we can set it down like that. Now don't be surprised when you set on it, when things sort of all seat together, you get a little bit of a thump or a noise, but it's just sort of a one-time thing. All right, so one thing I want to do here, so these are little side covers that cover the bracket here, and this is the first time I've ever seen anybody do this. Usually you have to put screws through here, but you don't see any screws there. Those are actually magnets. So the magnets are attracted to the tops of those fasteners, so all you have to do is set this in there like that, and that's it. That is clever. I really like that. And the same thing on this side. That is so nice. I've never seen anybody do that. And then the little fastener over here, I think this is just an extra one they give you just in case you lose one. I don't really see anywhere else that that's used, so that's nice that they give you that. So this is really about as easy and simple of an assembly that I've seen. Now you've got your little lumbar. You can crank this side handle here for your lumbar support, and this sort of pushes out. And there's just one on the one side. You know, I sat in this thing a moment ago, and the first thing that jumped out is how soft this is. This is really, really nice. The seat back and the seat itself, very nice. So the armrests here are nice because of the degrees of freedom. So we've got multiple adjustments here. We've got little handles here. You squeeze, you raise up and down, and that allows you to raise the arm up and down. You just squeeze it and then release it wherever you want. So that's nice. We also have, let's see. Okay, so there's a little button here you push with your thumb, and that allows you to rotate these all the way in, all the way out like that. So that's a pretty good range of motion there. There's also a button here you can push, and when you push that, let's see, that allows the armrest itself to move in and out. And then I think there's also, is there one more? No, that's it, yeah. So these come forward also and back. All right. And the final thing here is the pillow. And the pillow is very soft. It's not the leather-like material here. It's actually a type of fabric. There's a zipper on the back so you can take the outer covering off, and then I'll go ahead and connect it. Now if we look inside the pillow to see what's going on, you can see this is the memory foam that we saw earlier, and the beautiful thing with the memory foam, no matter how you deform it, it returns back to its original shape. So you can really compress it and it comes back like you never touched it. And on the front here, I believe, yeah, there's the cooling gel, little gel pack, and it does feel cooler. But the idea there is to provide a little extra cooling when your head is laying back against the pillow. I'll get everything tucked back in there and zip back up, and there you go. And then you just fish that through these side straps and connect it at the back. And you don't even have to use the pillow if you don't want to. All the gaming chairs I've ever used, I never really cared for the pillow, so I either didn't connect it at all, or if it lets you, you can just flip it around the back like that, and that way you don't ever lose it. It's always there. And as for the fit and finish, I don't see any loose threads. I don't see where they cut any corners. Quality looks really nice. All the stitching looks good. I don't see any wrinkles or any places where the material didn't get folded or tucked right. It all looks good. And the million-dollar question is, what do I think of it? How do I like it? Well, I really like it, and I can say this. I've sat in some of these chairs that are really soft. You really sink down into them. This particular one is not that way. It's pretty firm. It feels nice, but it is very firm. So it's just like a mattress, or a keyboard, or a mouse. All of those things are very subjective. So what I like and what you may like could be very different. Now, if you recall, at the beginning of this video, I showed some of the other craft chairs, or other chairs in the craft series, and they are very much color. Now, if you recall, early in this video, I showed some of the other chairs in this craft series, and they were very colorful and had all kinds of fancy graphics and artwork on them. And this is the more subtle of all the chairs in the craft series. So this one would probably work well as an office chair or a gaming chair. Either way, most people would probably not have all the fancy graphics on an office chair, but this one would definitely work quite well in either scenario. So in the craft series, this one comes in at $469. The other chairs in the craft series are $10 more at $479. Now, all the gaming chairs I've looked at, they range anywhere from $350 to around $500. So this is kind of in that sweet spot for what a good gaming chair would cost you. And really, you know, this is something you buy and usually you keep for many years. And really, I look at this like an investment, like a monitor. You know, that's something you buy once, and you're going to have that for a long time. But, you know, the way to really judge a chair is you can't just put it together and say, wow, that's a great chair. You really need to spend some time in it. And I've spent roughly 2 weeks using the chair, and I really like the fit and the finish. I like the adjustments. And I know earlier I said I wasn't a big fan of the head pillows. Well, this one has changed my mind. I really like this head pillow. So I would give this the Overclockers Club Editor's Choice Award. So this is Chris with Overclockers Club. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm going to take a nap.